Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by Congressional reporter Samantha-Jo Roth. SJ, we've seen a lot of developments, or really more of a stalemate, I guess, more than developments, in terms of what's going to happen with the debt limit. Republicans say they want cuts. Democrats say they don't want to negotiate. Where do we stand right now?
Well, I think as you characterized it, it is a stalemate right now. I think a lot of Republicans are coming out with talking points saying we need to cut, some things to be able to afford to live the way that we are. But then you also have Democrats who are, it's interesting because some of them are listening, but they're still kind of maintaining that they don't really want to negotiate. So we are at a stalemate. One thing that's interesting is we just keep hearing over and over, specifically from Senate Republicans, that they want, to make these cuts, but they aren't really willing to talk about where exactly they want to make those cuts. And then interestingly enough, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said basically, like, we're taking a back seat. We're going to let the House Republicans figure that out.
Some people really felt like he left House Speaker Kevin McCarthy out to dry.
I mean, I think it sort of seems like that for sure. A lot of the Republicans that I've spoken with have said, hey, we don't want to pass anything that's going to be dead on arrival in the House. That's a waste of our time. It's a waste of their time. So we're just going to wait and see what happens with this Republican House. I asked a lot of them, are you confident that they're going to be able to actually do this? We saw such a crazy week with their speaker election. This is very controversial. Are they going to be able to figure this out? Senator Kevin Cramer said we're going to try and let them. And, if we have to step in, we'll figure that out. But for now, we're going to let Kevin McCarthy navigate this, and we'll just kind of be on the sidelines.
So now part of it is obviously people talk about cuts and then don't have specifics of what they want to cut. But there also do seem to be some disagreements among Republicans about what spending should be cut.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a big group of Senate Republicans yesterday, specifically, this is not new, Senator Rand Paul saying, military spending really should not be a sacred cow. We should be able to cut those things. But then you also, have heard Steve Scalise saying, military spending really should not be on the table. So there are some major disagreements on that front. So we're going to have to see how they figure that out. You have a lot of Republicans who maintain that this kind of spending really should not be on the table. Then you also have lots of disagreements about entitlements and, all of that. It's just kind of a big mess right now. We have to figure out what it is actually going to be. And then you also have Democrats like Senator Schumer who are kind of making a mockery of this whole process, who are saying, well, where are you going to cut? We think it's silly for, McCarthy to be meeting with the White House if he doesn't even have a plan. So show us your plan. So a lot of dynamics on the Hill right now.
Definitely. And you mentioned Kevin McCarthy in the Speaker's election. An option under past speakers might be get a few moderate Republicans and all the Democrats to just vote to raise the debt ceiling. Kevin McCarthy's probably not in a position where that's a very viable option for him, is he?
Not really, especially with some of the rules that he just recently passed, which any one member can move to try and oust him from the speaker's role. So, you can imagine a lot of those never Kevin Republicans, if he just goes against what they want, they're going to move to invoke that, and it's going to get really ugly. So I don't believe that Kevin McCarthy really has that option. So we're going to have to see if he's able to, A, come up with actually where this cut should be, and then B, if the Democrats will actually go along with it. Luckily, we do have until about June. So I think this is a saga that's going to play out over the next couple of months. It's not going to be something that is going to, arise tomorrow or even next month.
Right, but it does set up a little bit of a game of chicken for at least a couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, all eyes are going to be on that meeting between McCarthy and President Joe Biden. Obviously they haven't said it yet. But, whatever comes out of that meeting will be really interesting to hear about.
We'll have to see if the gavel is the first spending that gets cut.
Yeah, it's always an interesting, balance with what they're going to cut. But certainly if they want to make the cuts that they say they do, they're going to have to, have some things on the chopping block.
Thank you, SJ. You can read Samantha-Jo and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.